All right. Let me get this light up. I keep on telling you I'm a struggle streamer. Still trying to figure this stuff out. You think I'd have it figured out by now, but no, it's just like with anything. If you don't commit the time necessary to perfect anything, you're going to struggle with it. And I'm just glad that it's just this streaming. There ain't no money attached to it because I don't do this for the money. I like to go out there and because I'm blessed in the labor of my hands, so I can get out there and make this money, um, without having to worry about any kind of interference from anybody. Nobody can touch my pockets, and it's a critical thing to understand. That, when somebody can touch your pockets, somebody can touch your family. You're in a situation as to where you're vulnerable, and you can't really speak the truth, much less live the truth because of that situation. But what I wanted to talk about tonight was the concept of consistency and persistency. Anything in life, if you're going to achieve anything in life, you're going to definitely have to make sure that you are applying yourself, and that requires consistency. That requires persistency. And unfortunately, a lot of people just don't have it. And as a direct result of not having it, they cannot really achieve their dreams, goals, and aspirations that they have in life, whether it's and I'll talk in the space of homesteading or business, and that's what I'm going to talk about tonight, just homesteading or business, because you have a lot of people that post the talk, but few people walk the talk and show the talk. And that is so critical, especially in the time that we're living in, because a lot of people, we live in a time where everybody's just fronting on social media. They get on and they'll post about this business, or they'll post about uh, the concept of marriage. They'll post about all of these things, but in the background, they're covenant breakers. They're not consistent in anything that they do. They're not really accomplishing anything because they lack consistency. They lack character. They lack the intestinal fortitude to uh, put their hand to the plow and stick to it. Because again, if you're going to achieve anything in life, it's not going to happen overnight. I remember, from a marriage perspective, I remember what Kevin Samuels used to talk about in terms of two people getting together, and I'm talking about two people that's getting together, and there's a goal in mind. I'm just not talking about just two people just getting together, or being together, whether it's in a polygynous setting or a monogamous setting. I'm not talking about just two people just getting together. I'm talking about two or more people getting together in a marriage covenant, and they have a specific goal in life. And as a direct result, they're working towards that goal. And he talked about the concept is going to take at least 10 years of hard work and consistency and teamwork to achieve that goal. And this is why you see a lot of people, I don't care, whether they're married or in business, you look at them 5 or 10 years later and they haven't achieved anything. You look at them, because, anything in terms of goals, you have a 1, 3, 5, and 10 year path to success. And as a project manager, I had to put together programs and projects that, okay, you have a 1, 3, and 5 month goal to get this thing done. But it's a beautiful thing to see the end result of a 10-year commitment where things are coming to fruition. You have the results. The fruit is coming full circle as a direct result of that persistency and that consistency in that marriage. And then things are beautiful because things get a whole lot easier. You are able to uh, enjoy the fruit of your labor. But if you don't have that consistent, persistent thought process, you're not going to get that because you're not a consistent individual. You're not a persistent individual. And that's what we see a lot of today. And that's why I say, and this is why I like to watch Facebook, and people that post all these memes and all these sayings and stuff about relationships and business and homesteading goals. But when you look at them, they ain't achieving nothing at all. Because one of the things that I noticed about people, if they're really achieving something and getting something done, they like to share it. I mean, it's just natural for people. But if they ain't getting nothing done, they ain't sharing nothing because they got nothing to share. They have no kind of plan to share. They have no kind of results to share because they aren't getting anything done. They're simply put, they're not getting anything done. They don't have any fruit to show for it. And this is why, for the people out there, you need to really, really, really understand and really stop wasting your time watching people that really ain't doing nothing. And this is why, I'm big on the notion of, just making sure that, I'm just not wasting my time watching people that aren't doing anything. Watching people um, that aren't accomplishing anything. Let me see that. What is this? Wow, I didn't know I can do that. Wow. See, I just now learned something new. I can share my screen. Wow, ain't that beautiful? See, I just now learned something new. So I can share the screen with the picture in picture quality. Man, ain't that cool? See, just now learned something new just by clicking on buttons. But that's what I'm going to do. So let's see here. Consistency. Uh, let's look at it. Let's look at it because it's just so important. When we look at Proverbs, this is a good one. Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but he who hates reproof is stupid. It's amazing how we can everybody's offended when you call somebody stupid, but it's an actual term. It's a real life term that people suffer from. And it's like, oh, don't call anybody stupid. Don't call anybody stupid. You stupid. No, people are stupid. You have stupid people in life, and there's nothing that you're going to be able to do about that. I mean, it is what it is. Um, Whoever spares the rod of his son, but he who loves him is diligent to discipline. And that's why it's so important. I was speaking or I was watching a video with this brother talking about uh, uh, the need and the importance of consistency, the need and importance of discipline, especially with our sons and with our daughters. And you can keep your shoes on. I mean, it ain't gonna matter. But when we're dealing with the concept of consistency, we have to teach our children consistency. We have to teach them discipline. Shabbat shalom, brother.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom,
shalom.
bro.
So the concept overall is that if we don't teach our sons discipline and consistency, how are they going to grow up to be consistent men? Discipline is so important. If they see us being consistent in what we're doing when it comes to shaping and developing our business and our work ethic, then we'll be a whole lot better off. in the future, our legacy will be a whole lot better off. And that's just a beautiful thing. I just now learned something about this live streaming thing. I can show uh uh the screen, the picture in picture.
Okay. So you have like a little slide on the
Yeah,
side
I
of
can
it.
have a little slide on the side of it.
Yeah, I know
So
you did that before. I just
no, I
yeah.
didn't know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? But I
Hmm.
mean, so
Learn
look at
something
the
new every day.
look at this right here. So share. So you see how I can
Oh,
do
I
this?
see. I got you.
Ain't that
Oh,
cool?
cool.
So
Nice.
we can do stuff like this. So I was like, man, you know what I'm saying? So if we want to bring something, as we get because O'Shea Duke Jackson, this guy that does videos. You ever seen the O'Shea Duke
Hmm.
Jackson?
Oh
You know what I'm saying? He calls us struggle streamers.
yeah.
We struggle streamers. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like this thing, like as you learn how to do this, you know what I'm saying? I mean, because I can do this camera right here on the GoPro, or I can do this, or I can do both cameras at once. But I
Nice.
haven't learned how to do it yet. You know what I'm saying? Because I haven't committed myself
Right.
to learning how to do it.
Right.
I mean, I got the OBS platform. I bought all of this stuff like 2 years ago.
Hmm.
But I haven't invested in, you know what I'm saying? Like boom, you know what I'm saying? Just by pressing on these buttons, I can show this screen and then we can go and review stuff. So that's what we'll do, going forward.
Cool.
But I haven't invested, the time and energy and effort in doing this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
So the topic tonight is discipline, huh?
Discipline, discipline, discipline. You know what I'm saying? Discipline in business, discipline in our personal lives, discipline in getting things done. And I'm telling you, there's certain areas where I'm very much disciplined, and there's certain areas that I got to work on.
Hmm.
Even in this day and age, I got to work on it. You know what I'm saying? Um, and it's interesting. I share something with you, right? Um, lately, I've just been feeling like kind of fatigued. And it's like,
Hmm.
47 years old, you know what I'm saying? And so I was able to get, you know what I'm saying, some energy stuff and some multivitamins.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I just now started to take it, but it's so important, you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, you just lose energy, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. Right.
After a while, you know what I'm saying? But and that's what I was noticing about. So I got on the, you know what I'm saying? I told Toy, I was like, you know what I'm saying, we need to, we've been getting a couple of things, you know what I'm saying, security cameras and stuff that we're investing in and lights and everything. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, that discipline is important. But if you see yourself falling off in a certain way, boom, you got to go on it. You got to get on it.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and share this because we got some great Bible verses. What does the Bible say about discipline? Okay, man, ain't that cool? Ain't that cool?
Nice.
So Hebrews 12:11. For the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. Wow, isn't that a powerful statement?
Oh yeah, there's it's a lot of
Let's
truth in
talk
that.
about it. Let's talk about it.
I mean, I used to play sports. I used to in high school. I played football, I ran track, and even in the natural aspect like that. I mean, practice is what actually truly makes perfect.
Hmm.
That practice, um, and the repetition is what actually made you better.
Hmm.
Whether it's getting reps at football practice, whether it's um, you know the track practice. I mean, that's actually what prepared you to perform,
Hmm.
at the track meets or at the football game. But it takes discipline.
Hmm.
Discipline is really a critical part of what we do to what I do in terms of business.
Hmm.
Because it also requires self education.
Hmm.
Discipline requires you being self motivated. Discipline is not somebody telling you need to do X, Y, Z.
Hmm.
Discipline is you taking the initiative to invest in yourself or develop yourself in a particular area, whether that's studying,
Mhm.
how to perfect your craft, whether that's studying a certain subject matter to become more, knowledgeable in a particular matter.
Mhm.
If you're trying to learn a new skill or you're trying to apply yourself in a certain area, you got to have discipline. It's essential. And then discipline also comes with this faith too, with
Mhm.
this walk.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like we talked about a few weeks ago, studying to show yourself approved. That takes a level of discipline.
As a matter of fact, you can move up because this is on a wide angle, so
Yeah.
it's good. You know what
So
I'm saying? We can, yeah, it's on a wide angle, so we good.
studying to show yourself approved, that takes an element of discipline.
Mhm.
That takes consistency, having morning devotion.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So discipline is critical with anything in life. If you're trying to progress, if you're trying to develop, um, and of course the enemy of discipline is slothfulness,
Mhm.
laziness, procrastination.
Mhm.
And like you mentioned before, we all have our areas where we're not as disciplined
Mhm.
as we could be. But the whole idea is that we hone in on those areas, and we develop ourselves in those areas. Not deceive ourselves.
Mhm.
So I think this is a very insightful topic for sure. But I wanted to go back to Hebrews 12:11,
Mhm.
where it talks about for the moment all discipline seems painful.
Painful, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
when
I mean,
you
that's some good stuff.
yeah when you're going through it. I mean, you mentioned this a few weeks ago when you were learning what you were learning, get
Mhm.
meeting that heat.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Having to deal with the rigors of on the job training.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I had to deal with it myself. When I first started doing heat and air, I started doing installs.
Mhm.
It was I started in a 130-degree attic installing ductwork,
Mm.
and that was my introduction into the trade.
Mhm.
But learning in under pressure is really where you develop.
Mhm.
And so, of course, it seems painful, but yet later it will yield the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those that are trained by it.
Mhm.
So there's fruit. We're yielding the fruit of what we learned and what we were trained under while we were learning and perfecting our craft. We're yielding the fruit of it to this very day,
Absolutely.
becoming entrepreneurs. And that
Absolutely.
same idea applies to every avenue in life.
Mhm.
You know when you when you develop yourself, when you're developing spiritually. I mean, think about fasting. Fasting is a great example. I mean, when you're fasting, it don't feel too good. Your flesh is crying out, right? But what happens is what begins to happen is your mind starts to get quiet. You start to get more sensitive to the set apart spirit.
Mhm.
You can hear the Father's voice much more clearly. And then you afterwards you truly do yield the peaceable fruits of righteousness because you decrease and then he what? He increases.
Mhm.
So I mean that is definitely I think something that is um again you can apply disciplines physically and spiritually as well. But so yeah, that's a very on point scripture right there.
Yeah, I like
Um
that one. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because it speaks to the heart. It speaks to, nothing is new under the sun. You know what I mean? We think that because we have iPhones and tablets and computers that we're somehow different, that we're somehow uh uh exempt to these words because we're
mhm,
living in modern day society. But the truth is, man, it's just the same thing. It's just the same thing. We're the same people that we were 2, 3, 4, 5,000 years ago.
mhm,
We're no different than that, and so we got to understand that. Yeah, we got to apply these words because um, when I think about it, at the beginning, I mean, it was some painful stuff taking correction from these Gentiles that I was learning under. Man, it was just a painful thing to do it, go in day in and day out and day in and day out and do it for years. I'm
mhm,
not talking about, you know what I'm saying? I did it for 6 months or a year. I did it for like 3 years, man.
mhm.
I'm telling you, man. But afterwards, I look at the situation and I say to myself, man, the benefits far outweigh the sacrifices that I had to put up. And when I look at me now, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, man, you know what I mean? When I tell you, man, the
Yep.
phone just rings,
Hmm.
man. I ain't got the, you know what I'm saying? I got uh one phone just rang. It's gonna take me a day worth of work to make $1,000.
Nice.
That's just next week, cash. You know what I'm
Nice.
saying? I mean, just boom, right there. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Hmm.
just a couple hours to do this project and a couple hours to do that project, and it's just done. You know what I'm saying? But it took a time to get there.
Hmm.
Now it's at the point in time where I just don't even worry about or concern myself
Hmm.
with if the phone is gonna ring or not. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it just boom.
So
The money's just there. You know what I'm
but
saying?
but you mentioned something. You mentioned correction,
Mm-hmm.
taking the correction. Of course, correction is another word for discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Because without correction, you really can't be disciplined. You have to have some type of correction that you're going under to get sharper, to hone yourself in any area in life. And that's one thing is that a lot of people cannot receive correction. They can't receive reproof, and that will stifle. That will obviously stifle your growth as well, and it will cause you to not being able to have introspection.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, having introspection, I believe, is critical in every area of life, man. Whether it's naturally or spiritually, you know what I'm saying? Um, so I just honed in on that word correction that you mentioned. Yeah, that's something that is an essential part of discipline. Is actually it actually is what discipline actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Is being able to receive correction. That's the only way you're going to improve.
Mm-hmm. It's just a powerful thing, man. But I mean, few people gonna get it, and that's why people in the same state that they've been in for many, many, many years. It's just amazing just to see, I mean, like I tell you, Facebook is probably one of my favorite channels. Why? Because you know what I'm saying? Because of the posts, I get business from Facebook Marketplace. But in addition, it just tells you a lot about the heart of people. Like I just now
Hmm.
posted something today because you just watch people over the years. You can watch people, and I said, people. What did I say? People post the talk, but they don't walk the talk. They don't post. They post the walk or they post
The
the
talk,
talk, but they do not post the walk.
right?
That's what I noticed.
Hmm.
You got a lot of people posting talk, posting memes, posting statements, but Bible verses and this and the third, but they don't live that shit at all. They don't live it at all. Because they lack discipline, they lack effort. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? They just wanna talk. You know what I'm saying? But blessed not the hearers, but the doers of the word. I mean,
Right.
anybody can talk something, but it's very few people. There's only going to be a remnant that's going to walk the walk. Um,
And on that, like I think you really can't have discipline unless you have something to measure yourself by.
mhm,
Like there has to be a standard, right?
mhm,
There has to be a standard at which you're trying to meet. And we can take a natural example. For example, in business,
mhm,
we could say that we saw the standard working for these companies we worked at.
mhm,
We saw the standard of what it should be, and it helped us to kind of, you know, uh, develop ourselves after that standard to meet the same level of service.
mhm,
While we were under, training under those particular companies that we worked for a period of time.
mhm,
You know what I'm saying? But I would say, of course, spiritually as well, we know the standard is Messiah, is Mashiach.
mhm,
So we know that we have to measure ourselves by him.
mhm,
That's the standard we need to measure ourselves by in our walk.
mhm,
You know what I'm saying? So I think having a clear understanding of what the standard is, of what the standard of perfection is, of what the standard of excellence
mhm,
is very critical as well. Because a lot of people don't even have a standard. You know what I'm saying? They're just going whether spiritually or physically. They don't have a standard by which to measure themselves.
mhm,
And I think that's critical for you to have. You got to have some type of standard to see if you're off or not.
mhm,
So um, I think that's critical. I mean, because you know, that's something that I always keep in mind. You know, even again going back to business, I go back to what I learned on the job and the policies, the little simple minute things that shows better customer service.
Hmm.
I recall those things, and I realized that set that particular company apart from the rest.
Hmm.
And so I try to apply that in what I do today. Same thing goes spiritually. We're supposed to be a set apart people.
Hmm.
We're supposed to be a holy people. So there's a certain standard that we try to meet, that we're meeting, that the world is not going to meet, that the
Hmm.
world is not trying to meet. So having that standard of that standard that you're constantly striving to meet is what is going to discipline is an essential part of that.
Hmm.
It's having a standard that you're striving for each and every day.
Yeah, I mean, it's so critical, and it sets yourself apart when you have a standard, when you raise the bar,
Right.
when you understand that it's important to understand that when you have a standard, um, you set yourself apart. You set yourself apart on so many different levels uh, that makes a clear statement about your character. It makes a clear statement about about your level of integrity as an individual. But
Hmm.
you got to have a standard.
Hmm.
It's amazing. And I told you, I posted something on Facebook about an experience that I had earlier this week about the guy that works as a manager at Lowe's,
Hmm.
and he called me up and he was like, "Hey, you know what I'm saying? I need something, fixed." You know what I'm saying? It was a little busted pipe. It was just a shit. My son took all the darn parts. I was teaching my son how to do plumbing work, but it was just a small T that just needed to be replaced. A half-inch T, and I go ahead and replace it. I could charge the guy like $400. I ain't charge him nothing. You know what I'm saying? And it takes discipline to think strategically because the average person was like, "Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? Give me $400." You know what I'm saying? I was like, "Yo, give me $10." And the funny thing about it is that when I opened up the check, he wrote me out a check for $100.
Hmm.
I asked for $10. And he
Hmm.
wrote me out a check for $100. I was like, "Yo, no, just give me the $10 for the parts." And then I opened up the check. I was pleasantly surprised. He was like, "Yo, man, you know what I'm saying? $100." You know what I'm saying? But
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? It paid for my the dinner that I had last night, the fancy dinner that I had last night with my daughter. You know what I'm saying? But it's so important to have standards. It's so important to be a strategic thinker,
Hmm.
and that requires self-control. It requires vision. Because now, you know what I'm saying, boom, he gonna be giving out my card. He's gonna be like, "Yo, man, you need this laminate flooring done? Call up this guy, man." And he gave me a great review. You know what I'm saying? On Google reviews. You know what I'm saying? Came out, helped me out. But I mean, when you have standards, when you have a strategic thought process, when you have vision to understand and self-control, you can see all of that come together.
Hmm.
And that's why it's so important to do that. And I'm going to talk about another experience that I had with my daughter in a minute. When we was in, I had to go and get a tie clip. Where's this
Hmm.
tie clip? Because you know what I'm saying. I mean, I'm big on my tailor-made suits and everything, but I lost all my tie clips, and I lost all of my. It's all jacked up. See, you see, it's all I'm all jacked up tonight.
Yeah.
Um, cufflinks. So these are cufflinks. They go in your shirt and a tie clip, you know what I'm saying? So I was rocking some cufflinks and stuff. Oh, last night we had a beautiful time, me and my daughter. I mean,
Yeah, man.
I'm telling you,
That's awesome, bro.
it just it just brought me to tears. And I was talking, I mean, I'm going a little bit off a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But it takes discipline and appreciation, you know what I'm saying? Because she thanked me about 5, 6. Thank you so much, Daddy, for taking me out. Thank you so much, Daddy. So she's gonna appreciate
That standard.
that standard.
That standard. Yep.
she's gonna appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? I
That's
mean,
in the
there's
bar.
a standard, but what melted my heart so much about the experience is that she was appreciative.
Yep. Yep.
It's amazing how so many people are just not appreciative. And that's the same thing when I set the standard of being a man of honor and integrity. Instead of giving me the $10, he couldn't give me $10 for the parts. He had to give me at least $100 when I could have charged him $400. But he was appreciative.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what melted my heart so much about my daughter, is that she was appreciative about everything that I did to her. Thank you so much for taking me here, Daddy. Thank you so much for taking me here, Daddy. So when her husband treats her a certain way, he'll be don't you know how much it melts our hearts when we show when a woman shows us appreciation?
Yep.
And you know how frustrating it is when a woman doesn't show you appreciation. That is the most. I don't even want to go there. We on consistency and persistency. We want to choke the shit out of somebody. You know what I'm saying? But Proverbs 25:28. A man, but this goes into self-control.
Yep. Yep.
Do not choke your wives, man. Huh? Don't choke them. You know what I'm saying? Huh? A man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. I'm telling you, man. I'll be watching these videos of these sisters, and they get pulled up. I was just watching the video before you came over. These sisters getting pulled over, and it's the same thing. They ain't got no self-control. They like zero discipline whatsoever, and they be acting crazy. How you gonna talk to a cop like that? They be cussing these cops out and everything, yo.
You know what's funny about that? These young men that aren't raised with fathers.
Yeah.
They're raised that are raised by single mothers. You know what I'm saying? That is the same mentality they take on as well. And this is why I believe in a lot of police incidents. It's because brothers don't have self-control. They don't comply with what the officer's telling them. You know what I'm saying? They get emotional. Saying, and so you see the end result of that.
Yeah.
So a lot of conflict can be resolved if you know how to handle yourself, with self-control in these particular situations. But it's a feminine trait when you can't control yourself. When you don't have no self-control over your emotions, and that shows a great lack of,
Check this out. I want you to check this out. This is what self-control, a lack of self-control. And it's always the same thing. This is why, self-control, discipline, consistency. I'm going to show you something, and I want you to see how this sister reacts. This young girl reacts, and this is how I don't want my daughter to, oh my God, this is horrible. Check this out.
January 2nd, 2023. Officers pulled over a woman driving without a seatbelt.
What? I just pulled out from my crib. No, what do y'all want? Y'all finna piss me off. I just.
Look how she talks to this cop. It's crazy,
totally
yo.
out of control, man.
Now, could you imagine how she talks to her man or her baby daddy?
Man,
I sit on my block and y'all see me pull out of my house to get gas.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
I just seen you on Rosedale. I stay on 212 North Rosedale.
Okay. I don't know that.
You just seen me pull out of my driveway. You was sitting right there. Why was you sitting on my block? And then you waited for me to pull out.
Is it illegal for me to sit on your block?
It's illegal for you to just pull me. What was the reason?
When did it become your block?
But you didn't tell me a reason why you just pulled on my plate, because it's a chip plate and I just bought this car.
I haven't been able to talk
What's the reason? What's the reason?
You don't have your seatbelt when you drive.
I did just have my seatbelt on.
Okay.
And I just took it out. Gas in my car. I am finna put gas in my car. Do you want my key? I'm finna put gas in my car.
Come back over here.
Don't touch me.
Okay, come back over here.
Don't touch me.
I can't deal with it.
I can't deal with you either. What the fuck? Have your deputy or whatever. Because she just put about me, and I'm finna call my mom because she just that.
I'm gonna call my mom. I'm gonna call my mom. Mama gonna deal with the situation.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have somebody come because I don't have nothing for you. Okay. I didn't say I'm replacing because I didn't register the car. You just pulled me off for no. reason. He has no lawful reason to pull me over. He said that first of all, he said that I didn't have my seatbelt on, but if you check in the trunk, I have my seatbelt on and I have a blanket over me because I don't have no clothes on. So he just pulled me up for no reason. I feel like hell no. I feel uncomfortable. Actually, I want a female officer to be here. If this is what we're gonna do, I feel uncomfortable. It's just sat on my block. I mean, I know you don't get. You feel entitled. I don't.
I'm gonna ask you one last time.
Okay,
Okay, you're gonna be placed under arrest. Last time, are you gonna give me your driver's license, move insurance, or you're gonna be placed under arrest?
Why?
Last question.
You didn't ask me a question.
You're under arrest.
You didn't ask me. I'll give it to you.
Asked her multiple times. Look how she dressed.
Get off of me. I'll give it to you.
You're under
Stop
arrest.
touching me. Stop touching me. Stop touching me. I just said I'll give it to you. Stop touching me. Stop touching me. Stop touching me. Stop touching me. I just said I'll give it to you.
Stop
touching me. Stop touching me. I just said I'll give it to you. Stop touching me. Stop touching me. I just said I'll give it to you. I can't even get it. Stop.
I mean, it's just off the chain.
Never been, no.
I'm trying to fix it so they don't hurt you, okay?
You just yanked me. What the?
Felony.
All she had to do was just comply. That's all she had to do. That's all she had to do, just comply. But you want to do that because what?
No self-control.
Zero self-control. And when you see men or women acting like this, I'm telling you, man, it's
because see, what was in control? She wasn't in control. What was in control? The emotion.
Yeah.
That was controlling the whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
And with men, it becomes much more violent.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we see today with a lot of young brothers wild and out of control. It's just a bunch of emotional men that have no self-control, have no self-discipline, no self-governance. And so because of the emotion, because the emotion is ruling, this is what leads to the crime.
Mm-hmm.
This is what leads to the violence. This is what leads to a lot of problems that plague our community today. It's absolutely no self-control whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it in the scriptures, it's true. It's like a city broken into without walls. That means that any spirit can come into you.
Anything going on.
If you ain't got no spiritual self-control, if you don't have no spiritual discipline, any spirit can come in, and you can be used at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the spiritual application to this. If you don't have any spiritual discipline or self-control, because the Holy Spirit gives you self-control,
mm-hmm.
It will give you that's part of the fruits of the Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
It will give you self-control. But see, when you don't have any self-control, you can invite any demonic spirit to come in at any given time and drive you to do its will at any given point.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's a prime example.
Mm-hmm.
It's like she manifested.
Yeah. I mean, and it's the same. And I've seen, it's this brother, and I'm gonna send you this other video because it was powerful, man. It just spoke to I'm gonna send it to you privately, man. But I said, man, I was thinking about this brother when I saw this video. But you know what I'm saying? This is why, because I've seen dozens of videos like this. While the man thinking that you're in control, when a demonic spirit is full in control because you lack self-control, you lack consistency, you lack persistency. You know what I'm saying? And it's a sad thing. But what we got? 1 Corinthians 9:24-27. Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one receives the prize? So run that you may obtain it. Every athlete exercises self-control in all things. They do it to receive a perishable wreath, but we are imperishable. So I do not run aimlessly. I do not box as one beating the air, but I discipline my body and keep it under control, lest after preaching to others, I myself should be disqualified. I mean, that's just some powerful stuff right there. I mean, the Apostle Saul, he was just dropping it right there. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be consistent. You got to have self-control. Everybody's running this race, but and this is what I say. And going back to business and consistency, you see a lot of people They start a business, right? I'm going to start this business, right? And then you follow up with them 6 months, a year later. What happened to this business? Have you ever noticed somebody, you know what I'm saying, they start a business and they invest a whole lot of time, energy, effort, resources, and then 6 months later, a year later, they stop?
Mm.
I see it all I see that. I got that example more than I have the example of people succeeding. But that's just the nature
Oh yeah, I
of
mean,
this thing.
it takes an extraordinary amount of discipline
Hmm.
to have any success in business. You know what I'm saying? In business, shows you a lot about yourself, a lot about your character, and I can apply, and I think business can be applied spiritual as well because there's so many similarities. Uh, because it's all based upon you.
Hmm.
It's all paid. It's going to become whatever you make out of it, and that's the same thing with this walk. It's going to become whatever you pour into it, whatever you put into it, whether it's time, energy, effort. Uh, focus on developing yourself because we have to develop ourselves spiritually.
Hmm.
We can't stay stagnant. It's the same thing with business. You're constantly perfecting your craft.
Hmm.
You're constantly learning. There's certain experiences that you have to go through that may not be as positive in order for you to learn from that particular experience
Hmm.
to make you better so you don't repeat the same mistake again. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing can be applied spiritually. You know what I mean? So this is um where's that scripture at that you just
I'm
read?
sorry.
Um so it talks about I discipline my body and keep it under control.
Hmm.
Lest after preaching to others, I myself should be disqualified, or in the King James it says a castaway.
Hmm.
In other words, somebody that falls out the faith.
Hmm.
So you don't want to be sitting there preaching and teaching to others, but because you have no introspection, because you have no self-awareness,
Hmm.
you wind up being a castaway.
Hmm.
You wind up falling away because you didn't apply what you were trying to teach and preach to others.
It's amazing, right? And that struck a chord just now because when we look at what's going on in ministries in churches today, how you got the pastor sitting up there. I was just watching these videos today of these guys that they're heading of these Christian churches, right? And they turn out to be pedophiles. They turn out to be jacking and stealing from the church and everything. And I'm like, man, these people are getting up there preaching to you, but they didn't see themselves. They didn't see themselves in the same preaching that they was giving to everybody else. They didn't see the same things that they was preaching to everybody else. They fall for now. This guy was being let off in handcuffs. I mean, straight up let off in handcuffs
Hmm.
because he didn't understand this concept. I'm telling you, man, this stuff can touch and grab and get and destroy any and everybody,
Yep.
and it is doing that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, hey man, you better know what friendship is. You better know what discipline is. You better know what hard work and ethic is, because if you don't know these things, and you have no you can't self-reflect on these things, man. I'm telling you, it's gonna gobble you up. It's gonna
Absolutely.
gobble you up. And this is one of the best ones that I know in terms of fear. Second Timothy 1 through 7. For Yah gave us a spirit, not a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. In the King James, it says a sound mind. Okay, but we look at this stuff, right? Let's see how
I,
I
I, I wanted to just point out something in that
what you
video.
got.
Going back to that video that you just showed,
Hmm.
she had spirit of fear.
Yeah.
Spirit of fear. You know what I'm saying? Spirit of fear is gonna make you act emotional. It's gonna
Hmm.
make you act erratic
Hmm.
and irrational. And there's a lot of people that's got the spirit of fear totally dominated.
No, I
Totally
can
dominated by the spirit of fear.
I can always tell. You know what I'm saying? It's like, a fear, man, you can smell it. Like it's like a bloodhound, man.
Hmm.
You can tell when somebody's operating in the spirit of fear.
Hmm.
Fear of failure, fear of rejection. All these fears or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I mean, if you get it, it's like, approaching clients, right? I'll turn around and I got no problem approaching anybody, clients, anybody. You know why? Because hey man, it's fear ain't in me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, speaking truth, fear ain't in me. I ain't fearing no man. I'm telling you, man. Fear Yah. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? You better fear Yah for here. Let's hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yah. You know what I'm saying? And keep his commandments is the whole duty of man. And you got all these people out there fearing man. And
Yep.
this is why feareth man bringeth the snare. I'm
Absolutely.
telling you, are we not seeing this come to pass right before our very eyes? I'm telling you, man. I haven't done a video on Vernon, but when he started off the video, you can clearly see that this man is operating in the spirit of fear. Because how are you going to be in that kind of situation, and not say anything? But you know what I'm saying, fear of rejection, fear of somebody else telling you got to leave, or fear. Nah, man, you can't be operating under any kind of fear, because it's quite evident, because it brings a snare. And then what are the end results? See, this is why I always like to deal with real life scenarios, because you see the end result. Nobody can't deny the end result. You can't deny the end result. You can't deny what was going on when you look at it, when you self-reflect, and then with your own selves.
Right.
You can't deny it.
Right.
Look at the end result.
Yep.
When you're operating under fear to spirit, especially when you fear man, I'm telling you, man.
Yep.
If he bleeds, I ain't got no reason to fear him. If he bleeds, if his flesh can be touched, I got no reason to fear him.
Facts.
I tell that to people
Facts.
time and time again. I don't fear no man. If he could bleed like me, nah. If he's invincible, that's hey man, that's something supernatural going on right there.
Right.
That's a concern for me. Nah, but you know what I'm saying? Nah, man, if he can bleed, man, nah, ain't no damn way I'm gonna fear. You know what I'm saying? But that's just how that's
what the
gonna
word
be.
says. Is because I mean, the fear of man is gonna bring a snare.
And
It's gonna bring a trap.
the end result.
It's gonna keep you bound.
The end result.
Yep.
Could you imagine living somewhere and you're just ruled by fear about what somebody else gonna do to you, say to you, especially do to you. And this is why we always stress self-sufficiency. This is why, because I got no problem with interdependence. I got no problem with that. But total dependence, I got a problem with that. You jacked up, man, if you just totally dependent on somebody else for your livelihood. You better know how to produce. Because if you don't know how to produce, man, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it goes back to business, man.
You're gonna be at somebody's mercy.
You're gonna be at somebody's mercy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and you know what I'm saying? I mean, you somebody's female dog. I mean, that's a bad thing. That's a bad situation to be in.
Yeah.
Because other men look at you, and you know what I'm saying. I mean, it's hard for me to have any kind of respect for a man that fear men. I mean, I just it's just hard to have respect for somebody like that.
Ought not to be,
and let alone your wife. Could you imagine? You know what I'm saying? Your wife looking at you. She don't respect you. There ain't no way. I'm sorry. There's no way that a woman is gonna respect a man when she see that he fears another man.
No.
Because then how can you protect her?
Exactly. Yeah.
How can you protect your wife and your children if your wife and your children see that you fear another man?
It's ass backwards, man. Ass backwards.
You just talking about literal slaves, man. You're just talking about literal slavery, man. But let's anything you got on that with regard to business and consistency?
Well, I mean, I think the question on that particular scripture: how do you counteract fear? How do you counteract it? Well, he gave us power, love,
and a sound mind. Do I come across as a person that ain't got no power, that ain't got no love, and ain't got a sound mind? Nah.
You see it in your fruit.
Nah.
By Ebony, you see the love.
Nah.
You see the power, and you see the self-control, the soundness of mind. You know what I'm saying? You can
Sound
see,
mind,
you see,
man.
I see it in your fruit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I see it in other brothers that are like yourself. You can see it
You can
by their
see it,
fruit.
man.
You shall know them.
You can see it, man.
You know
You
what
know
I'm
what I'm
saying?
saying? And I'll be damned if I be filled up with a spirit of fear on some man. Never have, never will. When I came into this faith, I set some serious ground rules as to what I would tolerate and what I would not tolerate. Because you got to, because I was going into something that was unknown to me.
Hmm.
And so, like, when you're going into something that's unknown to you, it's like, you know what I'm saying, man, you got to have a set of standards, parameters,
Yep.
boundaries. A lot of people don't have boundaries. And when you have a situation where you lack boundaries,
Hmm.
um, that's a very, very dangerous thing.
Hmm.
That's an extremely dangerous thing when you lack boundaries, because if you don't have boundaries and people always, I can tell when somebody don't have boundaries. I mean, it's just like one of them things. It's like, when they say, if you can make it in New York City, you can make it anywhere. This is why I ain't have no fear of moving to Kentucky, even though I never been there before. I never visited before. I didn't know anything pretty much about Kentucky. All I knew was the land and the surrounding areas, and that it met my expectations. That's all I knew. But I didn't have any fear in that. But you better make sure that you have boundaries, because if
Hmm.
somebody thinks that they can talk to you any old kind of way or treat you any old kind of way, they're going to do it.
Absolutely.
They're going to do it. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't man enough to check somebody, I'm telling you, man, they're gonna run over you, and
Yeah,
they're gonna run over you, and they're
that's a
gonna
fact.
run over you. Cause you know what I'm saying? I mean, but I
That's a
don't care.
fact.
You can tell when somebody a chump. You can tell somebody a punk. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Anybody know me? Know, hey, listen here. You put your hands on me, you better kill me. You to even put your hands on me.
That's right.
You better make sure you have a justified reason to do so. You know what I'm saying? But hey, man, you ain't got a justified reason to do so. That's a threat on my life.
Yep.
That's just how I take that.
People got to know there's lines they can't cross.
There's a line that you can't cross
People
with
got
me.
to know.
There's a line that I don't care who you are. I don't care how big you are. I don't care how tough you are. I don't care how deep your crew is or whatever. You can be touched.
Hmm.
You can be touched. I can't get to you. I have the means, the time, the energy, the motive, the economics to get to you and touch you, and I will. So you better
Hmm.
make sure. You better make absolutely sure that if you think you're gonna put your hands on me without any kind of repercussions, I'm telling you, anybody raising their hand up on me, I take it is they're threatening my life. It's as simple as that.
Absolutely.
Simple as that.
Absolutely. Hey, like I said before, it ain't nothing to talk about at that point.
Ain't nothing to talk
There's
about at
nothing
that
but
point.
action.
Ain't nothing but action. And any action that I take is justified. Whether it's a cannon or a gun or a knife or a bat or whatever it is, anything,
Hmm.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
All right. 1 Corinthians 9:27.
We just read that. We read that one in the other one. I think that's just one verse of what we read
Oh, okay. All right. All
earlier.
right. What?
Galatians 5.
Oh, this is a good one. 5:22-23. But the fruit of the spirit is love. Gotta have love, man. You know what I'm saying? Love. Yeah. If somebody can't love you, just leave them alone. Just leave them alone. That's how you deal with that. Joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self control. Such things there is no law, meaning that doing these things, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no law against it. Ain't no law against it. Let's talk
Yeah,
about it.
if somebody's operating in this, then they don't have to worry about the repercussions of transgression of the law.
Hmm.
The law was made for the lawless. So if you're operating in this, you're going to operate within Torah.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And one of those things, which goes back to the topic, is self control.
Hmm.
I mean. So when somebody doesn't have any self control, you know they don't have the spirit.
Hmm.
When somebody doesn't have any self discipline, you know
Hmm.
they don't have the spirit.
Hmm.
when somebody's not trustworthy.
Woo! I tell you, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Peace, patience,
No,
kindness,
gentleness.
Yeah.
Now we should be gentle with the brothers. Now those that are without, you know what I'm saying, we should still show ourselves peaceful towards all men, but especially towards those that are the household of faith.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, like last week, man, not everybody is your friend. And sometimes, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you just got to leave folks alone. You just got to distance yourself from folks. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just a defense mechanism. It's a great defense mechanism because, confrontation should always be the last resort. But hey, sometimes it's unavoidable.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes it's just unavoidable.
If somebody lacks self-control, that's how that situation comes about.
Exactly.
Because they lack self-control.
Yeah.
If you lack self-control with your brother, then you're going to turn into an enemy.
Yeah.
At that point. You know what I'm saying? So this all goes back to self-control because men, in the masculine experience, I mean, you have to have an element of violence about you. You have to. You have to be.
You got to be willing to bring it.
You have to be. But see, what puts us in those situations to begin with is when we're dealing with people that are emotional, that have no self-control, and those are the type of people you mentioned this before. You got to avoid people like
Just
that.
avoid them, man.
If you know somebody does not have a sound mind, if you know somebody does not have self-control, you're going to put a bullet in them. If something goes south,
leave them alone.
People like that,
just leave them alone. Avoid them. That's the best thing to do. Never put yourself in. I always attempt to really, 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 you know what I'm saying, discern myself in spirit, because hey man, just make sure that you just don't put yourself in a compromising situation. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just so important because kindness, right? It says kindness. I'm a very kind individual. I'm a very, you know what I'm saying, hey man, if you need it and I got it, you know what I'm saying? Hey man, it's yours. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
However, at the same time, people take kindness as weakness.
Absolutely.
Yeah, people take kindness as weakness. You know what I'm saying? And when you kind, you know what I'm saying, people will perceive that as weak. And so they need to understand that, hey, you're a kind person, but you know what I'm saying? Nah, they ain't gonna be putting up with a whole bunch of dumb shit. They ain't gonna be putting up with a whole bunch of foolishness. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you got to have that balance there.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Okay. Proverbs 13:4. The soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. See, that's
it goes back to what we talked about earlier. You know what I'm saying? And again, business is a prime example of that because people that are slothful and slack, they're not going to last longer than 6 months, if that. Because you have to be able to be self-motivated every single day. You have to be willing to get up, you know what I'm saying, where sometimes work from sun up to sundown, and sometimes do that consistently, for several years at a time before you can really start to establish yourself. How many people are going to be able to do that? And that's why the soul of the diligent is going to be richly supplied. That means your mind, will, and emotions. When you have control over your mind, will, and emotions, you're a powerful individual. You know what I'm saying? And particularly for men, I mean, you cannot be totally ruled by your emotions. You know what I'm saying? You have to sometimes get up and deal with things, even regardless of how you feel. Even if you don't feel like it. Even if you're in pain, even if your back is aching, even if, you know what I'm saying, you have a particular ailment or something like that. When you're diligent, when you have discipline, you're gonna continue to go out irregardless of how you feel. You're going to continue to go out handle business irregardless of how you feel. And I feel like that is one of the biggest traits of what a man is. Is to do something even when you don't want to do it. It's to do things even when you don't feel like doing it.
I'll tell you.
I'm saying that to me shows a lot of self-control when you can manage to do that.
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret yesterday. My head was pounding. I felt nauseous. Didn't show it at all, man. I was jacked up yesterday, man. This is daddy-daughter date. I had to press through it. I felt like at the point in time I was gonna call up my wife and be like, "Hey, could you just take her to this show because I just didn't, but you didn't see me exhibit any of those
Mm,
feelings at all yesterday. I was jacked up. I felt, I think I just ate something wrong. Never eat at a gas station. What I did yesterday was I was trying to just get me something to hold over, and I ate at that gas station, that new gas station right outside of Kubota, that new Kubota, that gas station right on 45.
uh-huh.
I just ate a brisket sandwich.
Oh boy,
Oh my
that's
god!
gonna tear you up, man. I know that tore you up. I
I,
had the same thing happen to me before.
something told me, but I was just trying to eat something to hold me over until dinner. You know what I'm saying? And let me tell you, man, my heart, my head started feeling like I had a migraine. My stomach started. I had to go to the bathroom twice in the middle of dinner. I didn't even finish my food. It's still in
Mm.
me. I didn't even finish it. And then after that, you know what I'm saying? We went and went to the show or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I mean, but you never think that I was sick or anything because you know what I'm saying, I just had to overcome. I remember experiences when I was in I was working and we was punching metal on a job site when I was getting trained. And I came down on my thumb. You see that? You see that mark right there?
Yeah, you know what? I think I remember that. That was when I came down to visit.
I don't know. I
No,
don't
I
remember
remember
then.
that. I
You know what I'm
actually
saying?
remember that. That
But I
was
came down.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a scar on my thumb. I came down on my thumb and bam, I split it wide open. I had to get stitches. I had to get stitches there. But he was like, you know what I'm saying? Oh man, it's a little thing, man. Come on, let's continue to work. I had to continue to work through that pain, man. I'll never forget it. I went to that emergency. They got that emergency downtown Mayfield.
Uh-huh.
On the main is this emergency doctor's office where you can go in where you ain't got to go into the necessarily go into the doctor or to the hospital. You can just go into, you know what I'm saying, and they'll just do a quick stitch
Hmm.
and give you a shot, you know what I'm saying, right then and there. But man, you gotta have self-discipline and self-control. But the diligent is richly supplied. I'm telling you, all my needs and everything that we need and everything that, hey man, we're richly supplied. I mean, I don't worry about anything. We're well supplied. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I mean, I
Absolutely.
don't, but hey, it didn't come as a direct result of being a sluggard.
Right.
Didn't come as a
Because
direct result of being a sluggard.
because the slugger they're going to desire,
Yeah.
but they're just not going to be able to obtain.
Yep.
You know, they're going to do a lot of talking and but then they're never going to be able to obtain because they're not willing to actually go out and do what it takes.
All right. But what do we got? Titus 2:11 through 14. For the grace of Yah has appeared, bringing salvation for all people, training us to renounce ungodliness and worldly possessions, and to live self controlled, upright, godly lives in the present age, waiting for our blessed hope, the appearing of the glory of our great Yah and Savior Jesus Christ, who gave himself for us to redeem us from all lawlessness and to purify for himself a people for his own possession who are zealots for good work. I mean, that's just a lot there. You a zealot for good work? You a zealot
Right.
for just staying and being in self-control? I mean, hey, it requires
Well,
consistency and persistence, so self-control there.
absolutely. In the first part of it, it says training us or teaching us to deny
Hmm.
or to renounce ungodliness and worldly passions.
Yeah.
You know, again, it goes back spiritually. There is a there you have to be highly disciplined to truly be in this walk, to truly endure and to truly continue on in this way. You have to be disciplined. You there and your if you can't control your passions, your emotions,
Hmm.
if you can't control your flesh, which entails all the passions and desire, if you can't control that, then there's no way you're going to endure until the end.
Mm-mm.
And that's what gets a lot of people off track. Now, are any of us perfect?
Nope.
No, we're not.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, is are we going to make excuses when the Most High Yah shows us where we're falling short? Are we going to continue to justify ourselves and continue to have a pity party and not do anything to change? And no, that's not what we're called to do. Because what's supposed to happen is the grace of Yah that has appeared to us is it teaches us to deny ungodliness
Mm-hmm.
and worldly lust, to live self-controlled
Mm-hmm.
and upright in godly lives in this present age.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're supposed to do. So if we're not renouncing ungodliness in in worldly passions, in other words, if we're allowing any old emotion, desire to just come in and have full reign, just like we read earlier,
Mm-hmm.
how a man that lacks discipline is like a city without walls.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about, during the time of, I would say during the time of Israel, when we first were established as a nation and we came into Jerusalem,
Mm-hmm.
there were many cities all throughout the land of Canaan that were walled.
Mm-hmm.
They had to be what? Jerusalem,
Mm-hmm.
the great city of Jerusalem. It was a walled city, and you had to have walled cities in order to defend effectively against attack or invasion.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have a situation where a city does not have walls, an enemy can easily come in and totally take over.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what Satan does with us when we don't have discipline.
Mm-hmm.
You can totally be taken over by the adversary.
We call it the wall of discipline.
Right.
I mean, if you ain't got it, you know what I'm saying? I mean, and and just going in, ungodliness and worldly passions. I think about when I left the city to move into the country, and all of the worldly passions that I enjoyed and indulged in so consistently and so professionally and so passionately and so deeply and so successfully and so richly. And I tell people all the time, when I left the city to move to the country, I had it good. I mean, it's amazing how people are struggling now and they can't give it up. They are jacked up, struggling, and they can't give it up. It's amazing to see this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I had to give up, the plays, and I had to give up, I was a serial dater. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I had to give up all of that stuff. I had to give up my main house and my and my second apartment that I had. I had to, how many people run around with two apartments, two places to live? You know what I'm saying? Back in the city, in Babylon. I had to give up all that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I showed you a more excellent way.
Hey, he showed me a more excellent way, But those were all my worldly passions that I had to give up and sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And as a direct result of that, I was able to obtain something higher. Now I can, there's nothing wrong with going out to a nice fancy dinner, which I do now quite frequently, or going to take the children to a nice musical or anything like I used to do. I mean, I can do the things that I used to do now, but in a family structure, in a family setting. And this what goes back to, you know what I'm saying, a lot of our young girls, you know what I'm saying, they've never experienced such thing. A lot of these sisters, they've never experienced a man taking them out to a nice dinner and showing them a nice time, a nice night out on the town. It's so sad. They haven't seen it. They haven't experienced it. And you can just see how it's amazing how I'll post a video, right? And I'll share this stuff because it's all a good experiment for me to see how people react.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you know them videos get hundreds of views on Facebook? You can see how many views you get on Facebook.
Yep. People love drama.
You will see hundreds of views on my daughter's the videos that
you're talking about the video you put. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
On Facebook.
Yeah.
It shows you the amount of people that if you post, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
or in the what's that thing? The story.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The 30-second short.
Yeah. Okay.
98, 99 people will view it. But you go to the nobody won't like or heart it.
Hmm.
Which tells me that they're watching. They ain't just saying
Yeah.
nothing about it. They won't
Right.
comment anything, but hundreds of people watch that stuff on Facebook.
Yeah.
The videos that I post on Facebook or in my timeline, hundreds of people watch that shit. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just how it is. That's just how it is with the
It's
hearts
funny,
of people.
People don't want to, support or comment on something that's positive. But stuff that's salacious and negative, people will comment and watch that all day long.
I'm telling you,
know what I'm
man,
saying?
I can go in on Rufus and I'll get hundreds of views. I need to, I got to do another Rufus video. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do another Rufus video. You say, I love Rufus. I love you. You don't make no mistake about it.
Hopefully he get it right. Hopefully he get it right, man. That's all you can say, man. That's all you can say.
I got another Rufus video coming up. You know what I'm saying? This is gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a title. Why Covenant Homestead loves Rufus so much. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just so it's so interesting and just poetic of all of that stuff that's happening. You know what I'm saying? But let's go on. What else we got?
And I wanted to kind of go back to Titus 2, where it talks about how it's training us to renounce these things. Again, just going back to the fact that being in this walk takes so much discipline. People don't realize, and this is why if you were never disciplined before you came into the walk, because when you're in any type of discipline, whether it's sports, whether it's even if it's some type of high level profession, you know what I'm saying, you have to have a level of self-control over your faculties. But when you don't have that prior to coming into this walk, a lot of people don't have a point of reference, because it's going to take a hell of a lot more discipline and self-control to actually walk this thing out. And so that's why I recommend fasting to people, man. Fasting is really what will get you disciplined spiritually. It will really enable you to die out to your flesh, you know what I'm saying, and really be able to hone into the spirit, so that we can deny ungodliness, so we can deny worldly passions, and so we can live a self-controlled and upright and godly life in this present age. It can be done. It can be done. And see, that's what all this is really ultimately about, is we got to live a set apart life before the Most High Yah. That's really what this all comes down to. But you cannot do that without discipline, without self-control.
You can't do it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and that's why it's just so important to understand these concepts. You know what I'm saying? Self-control, and it leads to consistency. It leads to, because if you lack self-control, there's no way that you can be consistent in anything. It's no way that you can be consistent in anything. It's so important to understand these concepts.
There's so much good in that, but we can move on to the next
one. Titus 1:8, but hospitable, a lover of good, self-control, upright, holy, and discipline. See, all of these things go together. Self-control, discipline, upright, a lover of good, hospitable. When it comes to business, you know what I'm saying, you got to be that way. You got to be that way. You're not going to succeed at anything if you don't know how to be hospitable.
Right.
I mean, and that's one of the biggest things that I try and practice when I'm out, because it's just, first and foremost, it's my nature. I'm not a confrontational individual. But it's so important to be hospitable when it comes to business, because when you're hospitable, it shows. And people pick up on that your ability to be hospitable. People know somebody that's faking it from somebody that's not the real deal. People know, you know what I'm saying? Especially, I've come to the observation that people, and put that a little higher, should be a little better. People know when you are jerking their chain.
Yep.
especially out here. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you could probably get over on folk, you know what I'm saying, somewhere else. But out here, where people are more so sober minded, and goodwill and good hearted and stuff, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they can tell, you know what I'm saying, when you running the game on them. You know what I'm saying? So, to be hospitable, to be self-controlled, to be upright, people can tell when you're not upright in business.
Hmm.
People can tell when you're not upright when it comes to your engagement with them. When you're over trying to when you're a huckster, you're trying to get over, you're trying to overcharge somebody. You know what I'm saying? People can pick up on those things. You
Hmm.
always want to be hospitable. You always want to be upright when it comes to how you're going about dealing with your clients in business. I mean,
Hmm.
it's some good stuff tonight, you know. And I promise you, I'm saying, and I never ask, like, share, and subscribe this stuff. Like and share this stuff. If you know somebody that's in the carpentry, that's in any kind of um any kind of profession or skilled labor, share this stuff with them. I got a call from a brother that needed some advice, and that video that I did earlier this week, and it's called what is it called? Uh Shucks, what's that video that I did? Let me pull it up right quick.
You've been having a rapid fire lately, bro.
Yeah, man. I mean, the spirit has just been moving on me in terms of, this stuff because it just need to be put out there.
Hmm.
And this brother told me, he was like, here you go. Don't lose hope. Just accept the signs. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna put this in there in the link. I'm liking this video stuff, you know what I'm saying? But let me put it in there. Y'all want to check out that video because it's just some good nuggets in there. I mean, it's just some good. Did you watch this video?
I haven't seen
You,
it
you
yet.
gotta check it out, man. Don't lose hope. Just accept the signs, man. Because when you just accept what something is, you know what I'm saying? Like perfect example of like when the client doesn't want to do business.
Hmm.
Man, hey man, I've been in situations when I first started out, and it still happens. It happens infrequently, but it does happen.
Hmm.
Um, well, I'll drive out to a client and they see that I'm a black man, and they turn around and be like, well, no, I didn't call you, or I found somebody else, or you know what I'm saying, they'll do that kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying? I mean, and it happens, but I don't lose hope, you know what I'm saying? I don't lose, hey, I'm sorry, you know what I'm saying, that I showed up or whatever. I'm very I apologize and everything, even though I'm dealing with a racist, you know what I'm saying? I don't sweat it at all. I don't lose hope. I just accept the signs. So I did a video talking about don't lose in hope. Just accept the signs. Check that video out because there's some good stuff in there. You got anything to add on that, brother?
No, you covered that well, man.
And we're gonna run
Um,
because we like to do this in 2 hours flat because I know it's late and um um so we try to do this in 2 hours and let you folks go to sleep. Uh
I will go. I do want to just touch on one thing though.
what?
On back, just going back to Titus 1:8.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you mentioned something like how it's in your nature,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one thing when
Yeah, let's hit on that
the
more.
the Holy Spirit is really dealing with you. He's going to change your nature.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to change your character. Um, and it's something that's within your nature. It's something that you're not going. You don't have to manufacture. Um, and again, I mean, this all goes back to discipline because when the Holy Spirit is really dealing with you and you really get that word in your heart,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to exhibit that. David said that I've written your word on my heart
Mm-hmm.
that I've hid thy word in my heart that I might not sin against thee. And a lot of people they're not hiding his word in their heart. And this is because when this word is actually hidden in your heart, you're going to have self-control.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to exhibit love. You're going to exhibit all the fruits of the spirit that we read about earlier in Ephesians. What was it? Galatians 5.
Yep. 5:22 and
Yeah.
23.
So, and that's how you know people don't have the word in their heart, because the word is going to govern you. It's going to be infused into your nature, and it's just going to be a part of who you are.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I just wanted to point that out, man. But we can move on to Titus. No, we already read that one. Proverbs 15. This next one.
Proverbs 15. I mean, if you want to learn the hearts and soul of men, read the Proverbs and read
Yes,
the
sir.
Psalms.
Absolutely.
Whoever ignores instruction despiseth you. No, it don't
Himself.
say that. It says despises
Himself.
himself.
Mm-hmm.
But he who listens to reproof gains intelligence. You know, I'm always big about it's a when I think about it, man, the last great teacher that I had that poured into me was Dad Dow, Pastor Dow's father. That was the last great teacher that I had in my life. And let me tell you, man, when I used to go on feast days and sit down with Dad Dow, man, I used to sit down and just receive all that wisdom. Dad Dow used to just pour into me. And one of the things that he said before he passed away, he even told Brother Richard that referred to the statement to me. He says, "Man, you still my son. You still my son." And that just melted my heart. It just melted my heart because when you have somebody that's giving you instruction, you ain't despising the person that's giving you the instruction. You're despising yourself. And I understood that. So when he told me something, when he put that wisdom and knowledge in me, man, this is stuff that still to this day I apply it. I apply it big time because I realize, there's very few people out here that can give you wisdom and instruction. And I'm telling you, man, I just miss that wisdom. I miss that love. I miss that instruction. But it was there, and I got years of it. Sitting down and in his trailer, sitting down where everybody else partying and stuff outside. I was in Dad Dow's trailer, sitting down, receiving that good wisdom and that instruction. But I'm telling you, man, and as a direct result, I gained so much intelligence from the wisdom that Dad Dow poured into me, and it made me the man that I am today. I mean, I've had several people that took a liking to me through my life, and he was the last ones to really pour into me in my 30s. That I'm telling you, man, it was just a beautiful thing, and it also amazes me how much so few people, if not anybody, really cleaved on to him in his last hours, in his last days. I mean, all that wisdom, all that love, all that wisdom, all that truth, all that. I mean, nobody cleaved on to it. Nobody seemed to be interested in it. You know what I'm saying? It's sad. It really is sad.
But
That's why I don't like to waste my time sitting back with people trading Bible verses and stuff. And you know what I'm saying? And these mini Bible debates, you know what I'm saying? Nothing ain't coming. When you look at their life, ain't nothing going on. But what you got to say, brother?
no, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, and sometimes that wisdom and instruction comes in the form of reproof and correction. I say that's the part that a lot of people don't like, is that sometimes you are going to be corrected and sometimes you're going to be reproved in order to actually receive that instruction and gain that instruction. How many people want to be reproved? How many people want to be corrected? You know what I'm saying? And, I shared this last week. I mean, there's been times you've reproved me on particular things. And because you are, an elder to me, I don't reject what you're saying. I don't get offended. You know what I'm saying? And it served me well in different areas. So sometimes it's just simple critique in certain areas. And I took that wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to gain intelligence, you're going to gain wisdom from that. So correction is always necessary, and is always necessary to grow and advance.
And I'll tell you a lot of the wisdom that I give you, I got from Dad Dow.
Mm-hmm.
I got directly from that man. I mean, it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's like, boom, you know what I'm saying? Because it ain't nothing new under the sun. What you go through in your personal life, whether it's business or family or friendship, or it ain't nothing new. It is nothing new or anything at all. So, you know what I'm saying? Hey, Nat, so when you try and give somebody some wisdom, some information, and they ignore it, they ain't despising you, they despising themselves.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, I'm not giving you wisdom or anything and nothing that I don't feel as though I have prospered in myself or doesn't work out myself. I'm fine. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Sure. Do we all have our little challenges in life? Of course we do. Of course we do. I gotta constantly go back and forth with my eldest daughter about picking up things around the land or hey man, it's a challenge, man. But I go through it, you know what I'm saying? It reeks the spirit, you know what I'm saying? My son is a little feisty one, you know what I'm saying? I mean, hey, but that's just how life is.
Yeah, and that's a good example there because I mean, we discipline. I discipline my sons. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And we do that in order for them to become more sharp. We
Mhm.
do that and so that they can so we can set a standard like what we talked about earlier. So we can set a standard by which they can go by so that they can develop into honorable and responsible young men and women.
Mhm.
And discipline shows that you actually care and love someone as well. You know what I'm saying? And of course, many people they don't look at it that way, especially in this generation. You know what I'm saying? They don't look at it that way. But when somebody's constantly reproving and rebuking you, that's all they care about you.
Yeah, when
That shows they see something in you.
when somebody ain't saying something to you, that's when hey
Yep.
man, they
When all the
done
reproof and rebuke stop,
stop. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
something
hey,
wrong.
I mean, and that's on you. That all goes because people get tired of saying the same shit over and over again after a while. You know what I'm saying? And so, going back to this business thing, you need to understand, this information is out there for y'all because we're not doing this thing and we're failing at what we're doing. We're very successful at what we're doing.
Right.
I wouldn't be sitting up in here with Brother Santee if he wasn't successful at what he was doing, unless I can confirm through the labor of his hands that he's successful at what he's doing. We're not failures at what we're doing. And what we're trying to do is we want to try to share this wisdom and knowledge and understanding with you folks. But let me tell you, going back to the video, you know what I'm saying? Don't lose hope. Just accept the signs. Brother called me up and it was something heavy on his spirit. You know what I'm saying? And took the time out to counsel the brother and give him the wisdom that he needs. Because I love the brother, you know what I'm saying? Brother Z came down here, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, you know what I mean? It's like, man, this is on my spirit, man. I need some direction in this area. And you know what I'm saying? I mean, and he'll go ahead and apply it. You know what I'm saying? And he'll be better off for it. But that's what it's all about, man. You know what I'm saying? It's all about receiving that wisdom and loving it and applying it, man. All right. So all right, Proverbs again. I'll go to the whoever spares the rod hates his son, but he who loves him is diligent to discipline him. It's one of the most powerful things to see a man raising his sons and teaching him because the idea is that who's going to inherit your business? It's amazing. This brother out here in Mississippi, he's going to inherit his father's business. He's going to inherit his father's business.
Mm.
That's powerful.
That's
there.
a very powerful thing. But he had to train them up.
Yeah.
To prepare them for it.
My son plays his hit. He'll inherit my business. He'll inherit the name.
Right.
He'll inherit the tools. My sons will inherit this thing provided that they're willing to put in the work.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell my oldest all the time. I said, this is your business.
This is your business, man. This is your business.
And I have them I have them help me with deliveries and show them how to repair little simple things, just getting them ready. You know what I'm saying? Um, but he has to be disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
There's some times that being young, they're gonna do foolish things, and you got to, uh, again, going back to that standard.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have a vision of where you want your son to be. You know what I'm saying? And you got to set a standard for him. But if you don't have a standard yourself, you're not going to be able to set that bar for them to pattern themselves after. You know what I'm saying? But again, and I get compliments a lot when I take,
Mm-hmm.
when I've taken, my family out. People compliment me all the time on how well behaved the boys are.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You mentioned the same thing likewise. You know
I'm
what I'm saying?
telling you, man,
That this, you know what I'm saying?
nothing but compliments. Anytime my wife goes out with the children, they jump in the minivan and they head out, man. You know what I'm saying? They all over the place these days now. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it's so common. We're so used to compliments. We're so used because they see discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Now my daughters get back in the house, or whatever, they run it damn right.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? When we go out in the world, you know what I'm saying? They know how to be disciplined.
Right.
They know how to conduct themselves because of that discipline, because of that love and that discipline.
And that's what, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, how there's a lot of young men, particularly amongst our people, who did not receive
Mm-hmm.
the rod,
Mm-hmm.
who did not receive that correction, and now they're killing themselves. Now they're getting locked up. You know what I'm saying? On drugs. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? All that is a result of lack of discipline. People that get up into all those areas, it's all a result of a lack of self-control and a lack of discipline. And the love of the father,
Mm-hmm.
is really what instills that in children. And that's why I truly believe the love of the father is the most important love that a child can receive. Of course, the mother is going to be there for nurturing and provide the nurturing that a child needs, but the father is the one that's actually going to build up that child
It's
in the way they should go.
it's been proven. It's been proven, documented, proven that men do better jobs as being single fathers as opposed to the women as single mothers. It's documented proof. Why do you think that's the case? Because all children need discipline, and that discipline primarily comes from the father.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't worry about my daughters because you know what I'm saying. I mean, my wife, she's from Laurelton. You know what I'm saying. She'll go upside somebody's head in a second. You know what I'm saying.
Yep.
Queens, New York. You know what I'm saying. I mean, she'll go up somebody's head quick. You know what I'm saying. So I just pray the day that my daughters don't ever try because they gonna get knocked silly big time. I ain't gonna probably even have to do anything. You know what I'm saying. But that's just how it is. Um, okay, so Proverbs 12:1. Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but he who waits for proof is stupid. We already went through that. 13:18. Poverty and disgrace comes to him that ignores instruction, but whoever heeds reproof is honored. I mean, this is just some good information, man. And these are things that we apply when it comes to business, when it comes to dealing with our clientele, when it comes to dealing with family. These are things that are just critical, man. But we're focusing on business. We're focusing on consistency in business. And if you're consistent in these areas, I'm telling you, you're gonna yield the results. But you, Second Chronicles 15:7. But you take courage. Do not let your hands be weak, for your work shall be rewarded. Ain't that beautiful? Ain't that beautiful that when we don't let our hands go weak, but pass me that over there, that energy stuff. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, I just not had it. Pass me all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? You brothers. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just had to, just up my game, you know what I'm saying? And it's getting some supplements because sometimes, you know what I'm saying, supplements are needed. You know what I'm saying? Taking your fish oil, taking that extreme energy stuff. I mean, this is just stuff that I've just recently started taking. And I'm telling you, man, it's just critical, man. It's critical because I've never taken, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you going after it and you going after it and you going after it, but sometimes we need these supplements. I'm gonna start growing some ginseng as well.
Mhm.
And getting them more into this herbal stuff, you know what I'm saying, to keep up the energy. Um it's just critical, man. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Because we gotta still
yeah.
get out there
That's
and get after it.
and see, that's another area
Hmm.
that takes discipline as well. Self-care.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
self-care,
saying?
man.
Of course, as men, a lot of times we just so used to getting after it, we don't even sometimes cater and pay attention to ourselves
Hmm.
and focus on how to keep ourselves in top shape and top health. And so that's just another area that we have to be mindful to be focused on in order to be able to go out and continue to provide and continue to go out and do things necessary. We got to care for ourselves. We got to be disciplined in that area as well. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Myself included.
I'm telling, and me included, man. I got to do a better job on this. And like I tell you, I just started. You know what I'm saying? I spent over $150 on this stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? But I mean,
Good
it's
investment.
good investment because I'm investing in me.
Right.
I'm investing in me. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go down and schedule you know what I'm saying, you brothers 40 and over, you need to be scheduling some time to get your testosterone levels checked. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm gonna be doing. Is scheduling some time to get my testosterone levels checked. To make sure that I'm doing the necessary supplements to keep up my energy levels, because hey, I ain't sitting down expecting you folks to send me money via Cash App. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's so sad. These people are just so pathetic. You know what I'm saying? I mean, YouTube is a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and people, but this stuff can get cut off at any time.
Yep.
This stuff can get cut off at any time, man. And you know what I'm saying? And you depended on this. Everybody want to make passive income today, but nobody. Everybody want 100% passive income. I see. I'll log in, right? I'll look at these. I'll look at these news feeds. How can I get it? Let me see if it just comes up. Let me see if it just comes up. It's always trying to sell me something. How can I get it? It's not news. Is it Google? It's something that always shows up about passive income. It's always something that shows up about passive income.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, a lot of people want to do that today, but it goes back to, the topic, the discipline. You know what I'm saying? And even with the YouTube itself, I mean, it's already becoming saturated.
Oh
You know,
yeah, you know what
the
I'm saying?
market in YouTube, and so many people are trying to make a living off of that as opposed to actually having to learn a skill.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or learn some type of discipline. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna see in the next few years that again, that whole market is gonna be oversaturated with people trying to do the same thing, trying to be
It's
content creators.
it's
You know what I'm
already
saying? It's already saturated.
oversaturated.
Yeah, it is.
It's
You know what I'm
already
saying?
saturated. You know what I'm saying? It seems as like this break has taken place where you got the people that's already hitting it, and
Hmm.
then you know what I'm saying. I mean, not mean that nobody can't grow in it, but you know what I'm saying. You got to be steeped into some type of controversy or talking
Exactly.
about
Right.
that kind of stuff in
Right.
order to make it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There you go.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? But I mean, we gotta, for the sake of our children, we gotta acclimate them into real things, real
Absolutely.
skills, real abilities, so that they understand the importance of getting things done. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But hey, you know what I'm saying? I mean, if your hands is weak, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it ain't gonna happen. If we teach them how to be passive and do everything passive and want everything passive, man, it ain't gonna happen, man. It's just not gonna happen. Um Hebrews 13:5. Keep your life free from the love of money and be content with what you have. For he said, I will never leave you or forsake you. I mean, that's just true right there, man. I mean, I don't worry about money at all. Money just gonna come. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And this is why I'm so disciplined when it comes to my expenses. You know what I'm saying? You know, I told you our monthly expenses have actually gone down.
Mm-hmm. I remember you was telling me that.
It's actually gone down. You know what I'm saying? In this inflationary environment, my money is, it's actually gone down.
Hmm.
And let me tell you, man, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I see these kind of things and I'm like, man, you know what I'm saying? I don't, all it takes is one job
Yep.
to go and make what I need to make. You know what
It's
I'm
a
saying?
blessing,
Just
man.
one job, a couple hours in a day will cover my monthly expenses, man. I mean, it's just nothing like the freedom to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's a blessing.
Proverbs, train up your child the way they should go, and they will not depart from it. You know what I'm saying? You train up your child to be workers and to be blessed in the labor of their hands. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna depart from it. This is why it's so important for our sons and our daughters to have a good example, a good example of how to go about doing these things. Because man, when they do it, man, you know what I'm saying? They got the living example,
Right.
and they ain't got to worry about it because they got the living example. The
Mm-hmm.
living example is there. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I mean, but if they ain't got the living example, then what they gonna do? You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? We
Goes
got
back
it.
to that standard.
Yeah, it's all, but yeah, we gotta have it. We gotta make sure that they have the living example.
Yep.
First Peter, to all things it is at hand. Therefore, be self-controlled and sober-minded for the sake of your prayers. Roman, for if you live according to flesh, you will die. But if according to the spirit, the death, that deeds of the body, you will live.
Romans 8:13.
You know what
I
I'm
want
saying?
to go back there real quick.
Go ahead.
It says, "For if you live according to the flesh, ye shall surely die. But if
Mhm.
by the Spirit you put to death the deeds of the body." That's going back to, I think it was 1 Corinthians 8 we read earlier, about when we have to put our body under
Mhm.
subjection, being able to have self-control over this flesh. You know what I'm saying? Because if we don't put to death the deeds of the flesh, sin, iniquity, and transgression, then the word says we shall surely die
Mhm.
if you live after your flesh. In other words, if you live after according to your emotions.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? We was talking about that earlier. So many people are totally governed and controlled by their emotions.
Mhm.
And that's what leads people down destructive paths. You know what I'm saying? That's what leads people to fall away.
Mhm.
Is because they have no control over their flesh. You know what I'm saying? But if you walk after the spirit, but if through the spirit you put to death the deeds of the body, you shall surely live.
I'm telling you, man, and it's a
Discipline,
difficult thing to do. You know what I'm
spiritual
saying?
discipline.
I mean, it's a walk of faith. You know what I'm saying? It is a walk of faith. You know what I'm saying? It's a difficult thing. You know what I'm saying? We all have our challenges, but if we overcome them, man, we'll be better off at the end. To
It's
the end of things is at hand. Therefore, be self-controlled and sober-minded for the sake of your prayers. The rod of reproof gives wisdom, but the child left to himself brings shame to his mother. I'm telling you, man, his father is well, you know. Whoever is slack in his work is a brother to him who destroys.
mm,
Ooh, let's get into that one right there. You know what I'm saying? Whoever is slack in his work is a brother to him who destroys.
in other words, it's saying you're a friend of Satan.
Slack in work, man.
That you're a friend of Satan if you slack in work. That's wisdom right there. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're slack in work, I mean, we can take a physical example, but also spiritual. When you're slack, it shows you have what?
Mm-hmm.
No discipline.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it shows. You have absolutely no discipline when you're slack in any aspect of life.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to business, that's one area where it's going to definitely put you in a situation where you have a bad reputation. Where word is going to get around that you do shitty work.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Um, and ultimately you're going to put yourself in a bad situation. But also spiritually, if you're slack spiritually, if you aren't operating under the discipline of the Holy Spirit
Mm-hmm.
that teaches you to deny this flesh and worldly passions, like what we talked about earlier, you're going to be a friend of Satan.
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have any discipline, you're going to find yourself living in sin. See, it's one thing for us to fall short, but when you find yourself living in unrepentant sin, but you're not turning from it, that shows you have no discipline whatsoever. It shows you have no spiritual discipline. And so this scripture is right on point. If you're slacking work, you are a brother to the destroyer. You're basically a friend of Satan. Hey, that word is true, man. I'm telling you.
All right, what else we got? Whoever is slow to anger is better than the mighty, but he who rules his spirit than he who takes a city. I'll tell you, man, this is just all good stuff, man.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's a good one right there, man. I wanted to go back to the one you just read, Proverbs 16:32. Whoever is slow to wrath, whoever is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than he who takes a city. I'm telling you there's so much power, so much wisdom in that, and it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. How if you lack discipline, it's like a city without walls. But when you can rule your spirit, you can conquer. There's so many things you can conquer when you got control. When you have self-control. You know what I'm saying? There's so many things you can accomplish when you have self-control and discipline. You know what I'm saying? And being slow to wrath. See see when somebody is quick to wrath, do they have self-control? Do they have discipline? See that's the thing. See how the wisdom in this, and that's what gets a lot of people in trouble. They're so quick to wrath, so quick to fly off the handle. But when you got the Holy Spirit in you, you're gonna be slow to wrath. You're gonna be able to assess the situation. You know what I'm saying? And I can't tell you, man, how many times I've seen how somebody's so quick to wrath, how it leads to destruction, how it leads to their demise. You know what I'm saying? Because people are so quick to anger. You know what I'm saying? So quick to react. Everything don't require a reaction. Sometimes you have to wait until afterwards. Sometimes you have to really just assess the situation. You know what I'm saying? But that only comes by the wisdom of the Holy Spirit.
I'll tell you, it is probably in certain situations, it has taken me years to respond to a situation or years to react to respond to a situation that I experienced many years ago. But I tell you, man, it's just so critical and so important to understand these things. I mean, hey, man, everything you ain't got to respond to immediately. You know what I'm saying? Not everything you got to respond to, just, you know what I'm saying? Like, give it time. Just give it time. You know what I'm saying? And if you just give it time, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you'll allow yourself to be put in a situation as to where you you can really clearly see a matter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's go back up. Let's go up a little further to Romans 12:2.
Romans 12:2.
It says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of Yah." I like the King James Version a little better. What is the good and acceptable and perfect? What is good, acceptable, and perfect?
I gotta see how I can change this. This is open Bible. This is not the Bible Hub.
Okay. I wish I had my should have brought my. You got your King James? I think it's over.
Right there.
Let's see it. Is this the NIV? Let's see. 12:2.
That's not an NIV. I ain't got no NIV up in here.
Well, it was a New King James. I wanted to. It doesn't matter. It's the same. I just want to go there real quick and read it out of there. Romans 12:2.
I just like the King James a little better. Let's see. It says, and do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yah. Again, I mean, this word is actually supposed to transform and renew our mind.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it's supposed to do. You see, because we operate after these principles, it spans into our business life.
Mm-hmm.
It spans into our personal. It spans into every aspect of how we deal with our brothers. How what I'm saying, because our mind is transformed. And it says that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yah. We have to prove the standard. See, we have to be able to show the standard. We have to prove what is acceptable in the perfect will of Yah. And that's by having a standard, his standard.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And so we shouldn't be conformed to this world. We shouldn't be behaving and we shouldn't be trying to get over on people, even when it comes to business.
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't be trying to jack people. You know what I'm saying? We operate off a higher standard.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And this is why it has given us great success even in that area.
Yeah.
When it comes to business, but also just dealing with our brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? We have to be constantly proving what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that can only happen when the word has actually transformed and renewed our minds. And we have to allow that to happen.
And we're in this walk together. I mean, we're all going from faith to faith, glory to glory. There's always things that we've struggled with in the past, or things that we're struggling with now, will we struggle with in the future. Our struggles may change.
Mm-hmm.
There's things that I've struggled with in the past that I don't struggle with now. There's things that I struggle with. There may be things that I may struggle with in the future. But the idea is that, I'm saying, we're always overcoming.
Right.
And this Absolutely. Is why, it goes down to the concept of consistency in business. We have to be overcomers. We have to be overcomers of the things that put that stumbling block upon us, because at the end of the day, it's just you and the Father at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be worried about nobody. Just be worried about that, because, hey, man, the results are going to show when it comes to business, when it comes to your relationship with your family, when it comes to relationship with your friends, it's always going to show. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we got to do. We got to make sure that we're consistent and persistent in those matters. But we're going to close it out for tonight. I think it was a good time.
Oh,
man. It was a good, we're going to continue on this. We're going to continue on this. We'll be, I will improve this stream. We'll get better at it. I'm telling you, man, I like this.
Yeah, man, that's a really cool feature.
Right there, I like this feature. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm going to be doing a whole lot more of this stuff. But have a blessed night. Well, we're gonna take it down for the night. And I thank even every single last one of y'all that joined us for tonight and hearing what we had to say. And hopefully it was edifying. Hopefully it was encouraging to you. And we need to network more. Anybody that has any ideas or need any guidance in business, reach out to us. We're open, because we need to transcend this YouTube thing, this Facebook thing. And I spend a lot more time reaching out to people and developing, those connections with people.
Right. Absolutely.
It's just so important to do that. And we need to continue on that, because, when this thing, anything can just turn off just like that.
Yep.
And so it's important to develop these relationships, continue on and building the friendships. And friendships take time, it takes time, it takes effort. And that's what we're going to be doing. So I'll bid y'all a good night and sleep well. Enjoy y'all Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, y'all.
Okay.